you some drills that you can practice at home whilst you're in quarantine or in lockdown. Even though you might not be able to get out to training, it's still really important that you're practicing and working on your skills so that when we get back to playing in matches you feel really confident you can perform at your best. Today we want to talk you through the knuckleball, and the knuckleball is a slower ball that came over from baseball that's used all around the world by fast bowlers. Some of the best in the world at bowling a knuckleball are people like Bhuvaneshwar Kumar from India and Andrew Tai from Australia. Now first things first, I'm going to talk about the grip. The grip, we still keep the seam upright like a normal delivery, thumb underneath, but rather than having our fingers on top of the ball either side, we're going to bend our first two fingers and push the ball in against our knuckles. Now it's up to you to explore what grip feels best. Some people like to have the ball in their fingertips, other people like it pushed right back against their fingernails and in their knuckles. You've got to figure out what feels best for you and what gives you the best results. Now the key thing with the knuckleball is that as you bowl it, you want it to come out of your hand with as few revolutions as possible. So unlike a normal delivery, where you roll your fingers down the back of the seam to keep the seam upright, the knuckleball should come out with as few revolutions as possible. And when you get this right, you'll see the ball wobble in the air as it goes towards the batsman, and that's what makes it really hard for the batsman to play. So the first thing we're going to do when we've got the grip right is we're just going to practice getting it out of our hand with as few revolutions as possible. So you're just going to throw it up in the air from one hand to each other, trying to make sure that you're not applying any backspin, and the ball should stay still in the air as you throw it up from one hand to the other. And once you're comfortable with that, and once you've explored your grip, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to move towards more of a bowl from one hand to each other. Again, the key focus is trying to make sure that as you get the ball in the air from one hand to each other, there's as few revolutions on the ball as possible. And you'll see if you do it properly that the ball will stay fairly still in the air. If the seam is rotating backwards a lot, you're probably not doing it right, so you need to make sure that the ball's coming out of your hand with as few revolutions as possible. And again, once you're comfortable with that and you're happy that the way that's coming out of your hand is right, the next progression is to move to actually bowling the ball. Now you can do this with a partner if you've got one, and that's great because they can give you some feedback about how the ball is actually moving in the air. If you don't have a partner, you can do it at home on your own. You can bowl it against a wall, inside or outside, but we'd probably suggest moving to a tennis ball. You can draw a seam on it if you want to, or if you have an elastic band, you can put an elastic band around the ball to try and replicate the seam. And all you're going to do, make sure that your grip's right, and you're just going to bowl the ball against the wall, trying again to make sure that as you're bowling it, there's as few revolutions as possible on the ball and it's coming out of your hand properly. Ideally what you do then is you progress to bowling it over 22 yards. If you can do that, brilliant. If you can't, just make sure that whilst you're practicing at home, you're getting your grip right, you're getting the ball to come out of your hand with as few revolutions as possible, and then hopefully when you get into games, you feel confident you can bowl this and start getting batsmen out. Anyway, that's another drill for you to do at home today. This time it's a little bit more technical, focusing on your hip-shoulder separation. Now hip-shoulder separation is a big area of your fast bowling action that can help you to generate pace and increase your speed, so it's important that you know what it looks like and what it feels like to do it correctly. The key thing we're looking for in this drill is to understand what it feels like to have our hips to rotate forwards whilst our upper body still stays sideways on. Now this drill is exceptionally important for those bowlers who land side on or midway at back foot contact. It's still important for front on bowlers, but you just have less to do in this drill because your hips should already be facing forwards by the time your front foot hits the ground. To do this drill properly, to start with, all you're going to do is hold on to that object behind you, making sure that it's directly behind your bowling shoulder. You're then going to put your front foot on the ground, but your back foot and hip are still going to be in the direction that you'd be in at back foot contact. So if I landed sideways on, my back foot and hip would still be sideways on. From there, all I'm going to do is rotate my hip from that position to face forwards, but my upper body's still going to stay sideways on. And if I do this correctly, as I drive my hip to face forwards, I'll feel a big stretch through my hip and my upper body into my bowling shoulder. Now if I'm going to progress this drill, it's really simple. This time all you're going to do is start from back foot contact, and as you move from back foot contact to front foot contact, your hip will rotate forwards and you'll still feel a big stretch through your upper body into your shoulder. Now that's it for now. If you want to learn more about hip-shoulder separation, you can head to the separation page on our website. The link is down in the description below. We've also got a 20% off sale on our website at the minute. That ends tomorrow. So if you want